You are a person that's going to make life and death decisions for hundreds of families. And you need to have a mental fitness that is flourishing. You need to have a personality that is encouraging.
Most pilots don't understand what career opportunities are available in the world of aviation. They're making career decisions based on advice from friends or posts on internet forums, meaning they are taking huge risks with their livelihood without having all the details. This podcast was created to help you understand the aviation industry so you can find your dream job. Let's get ready for Pushback. Here's your host and my dad, Nick Fialka.
What is up, pilot? It's your boy, Nick Fialka. I hope you are crushing today, baby. Today is an awesome day. Today, we are talking about extracurricular activities, how to differentiate yourself when we are in a sea of pilots. There are so many great jobs out there, and there are so many people that want those great jobs. Maybe you're targeting a certain airline. Maybe you really want to go to FedEx. Maybe you really want to go to UPS or Delta or United or Southwest or whatever, and you're waiting for the call. Man, I get so many phone calls. I get so many DMs from pilots that are like, why am I not getting the call? My friends are getting the call. They're just like me. They're doing this, I'm doing this. They're doing that, I'm doing that. I'm the same as them, but they're not, they're getting calls. I'm not getting calls. Why am I not getting a call? It's so frustrating. Well, what are you doing extra? What is your thing that you're doing? As I was getting ready for this podcast, I started doing a little bit of research, a little reading, and I got on a fastcompany.com article. It's called The Single Most Overlooked Skill on a Resume. And so they surveyed these participants and who were employed and were either responsible for hiring or indirectly influencing people that make hiring decisions. And so they found out some interesting things. I'm going to read you these stats. 92% of these people who are responsible for hiring or indirectly influencing the person making a hiring decision, 92% believe volunteering expands an employer's professional skill set. 85% are willing to overlook resume pitfalls when the employee includes volunteering on their resume. 82% of them are more likely to choose a candidate with volunteering experience. 80% believe that volunteering is an effective way to boost leadership skills. And 73% of these people who are responsible for either hiring or indirectly influencing a person making a hiring decision, 73% believe that people who volunteer are more successful. So the question is, do you volunteer? Do you put yourself out there? Are you looking outside of yourself? Are you looking externally? Are you looking and not being myopic and being compassionate? And how are you volunteering? All right. So why are you volunteering to begin with, right? Volunteering, it's a form of self-sacrifice. It is giving beyond what you should have to give. You're pouring out all of who you are to help somebody else for some reason. You have a capability that allows you to help someone. You're reaching out to your common man. That's what I'm doing right now. I genuinely want you to succeed. I take emails, I take phone calls, I take DMs, all of it, all the time. I participate in self-sacrifice. Like I'll answer phones when I'm cooking dinner. I won't answer it while we're having dinner because I feel like family time is super important. I find time to get away from my daily life to make sure that I connect because I feel like I'm serving a cause greater than myself. I feel like me serving you and me pouring myself into you, it's good karma. It's good business. It's right. It follows the morals that I have. I've always been a person that gives and tries hard to see others succeed. And the same is true when you're diving into an organization. And it's important because that lifts up their ideals and aligns them with you and your ideal. One of the other things I did, I listened to some TED Talks. I love a TED Talk, and there's a lot of things I love about a TED Talk. One of the things I love about a TED Talk has kind of nothing to do with this podcast, this episode at least. I'll do an episode on it later, but the art of storytelling is so important. And I'll just leave this here as a sprinkle. If you're not already learning about the art of storytelling, listening to the Moth podcast, going on YouTube, listening to Prairie Home Companion, listening to instruction about how to tell a story, you should. That's all I'm going to say about that right now. We'll get back to it in another episode in the future. You just keep listening. It'd be awesome. But this TED Talk, right? This guy, Jeffrey Frey, he lives in Houston, and they had this TED Talk. I think it was Houston Christian University or University of Houston, something. Real interesting guy. I think he's a pastor, but he talked about the coexistence of sacrifice and self-stewardship. And his perspective on self-sacrifice was so interesting. He had researched these 10 areas of our lives that are affected by sacrifice, but focusing on self-stewardship on any one of them at any given time can elevate the entire person's well-being. So you sacrifice, you participate in this self-stewardship, like making yourself better. You elevate your entire well-being while giving. Therefore, like helping ourselves, we can also help others. And the goal is not only to be sustainable leaders, leaders, people that are there for the long haul, but as a flourishing leader. And the reason this is important to you is not, I'm not trying to get you to be the CEO of a company, but you are a leader. You are a pilot. You are a person that's going to make life and death decisions for hundreds of families. And you need to have a mental fitness that is flourishing. You need to have a personality that is encouraging. You need to have an emotive personality that creates goodness with the people around you. So I don't just want you to sacrifice, but I want you to do it intentionally to a way that'll help you grow. And as you do this, your efforts will be greater and your satisfaction will skyrocket. And so this leads us back to volunteering, sacrificing and giving intentionally to help you grow, but also to make your efforts and the people around you better because of it. Volunteering, when a person that volunteers is selfless. Think about the people, if you've ever donated blood, think about those people that go to the blood bank all the time and they've been there a jillion times. They're never the meanest people ever. They are like the nicest, most genuine people, and they love that they can give blood. And that is so cool. And they love that because they are giving, like, it's painful. It's a thing. They get some snacks, but really they're giving life. They're giving life. And that is amazing. Like, that's how that's their self-worth, is by giving life. Now, volunteering, right? A lot of the organizations we have, it's not about giving life, but it is about giving part of your life and interacting with their lives to make everybody's life better. And I think that's really, really cool. And so as you do that, like, it shows. A person that really volunteers, you'll remember my episode with Jessica Ortega, right? A person that really gives, like, that woman gives. She's in her 20s. She's young. She's a captain in a major airline, and she gives everything. It is so cool. And it just, like, radiates out of her. When I met her, like, that's all she talked about. And on the podcast, like, that is just a glimpse of her everyday life. So find that thing that you can be passionate about. I love that. And I think that you can be great at it too. So it's always like, well, where do I start? What do I do? So, if you're a church person, go find, like, church needs you, man. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what your religion is. That church, that building with those people in it, they need help. Nonprofits, maybe you support SPCA or something like that. Really good. Coaching your kids' sporting events. Man, I got roped into coaching soccer. I'm a terrible coach, but I did it because none of the other dads were doing it, or the moms. Like, everybody was just, like, sitting around on their ass, and it was stupid. And so I knew that these kids, what they wanted, like they don't give a shit about scoring. They just want to like run around and have a good time. That's what we did until some dads got in a fight and I had to punch them out. And I didn't punch them out, but I hate watching parents fight. It's so stupid. I digress. Volunteering, showing your passion, right? Volunteer on something that shows your passion. And I'm sure that all the people that run the organizations in aviation, all the nonprofits that listen to this, that I talk to all the time, they've been waiting for me to say aviation, right? Why do you think the airlines support aviation nonprofits? Why? Think about it. If you go to Envoy Air, go over to Regent Boulevard, go into the front door and walk straight ahead. There's like the pilot interview area and there's like accordion wall and there's this trophy case. And in that trophy case are all these plaques of appreciation from women in aviation and OBAP and all the organizations that they are big time sponsors of. And they don't sponsor it for a tax write-off. They sponsor it because they're looking for diversity of thought. They're looking for something better than the status quo. And that is what these organizations are all about, is raising up and empowering people that have been disadvantaged in our industry or people that don't know. Think about PPOT, right? Professional Pilots of Tomorrow. They go out into disadvantaged neighborhoods and tell kids, you can do this. This is not for a rich person only. This is for everybody. And here, let me help you get into it. And those volunteers go and love on those kids and get them moving and mentor them all the way until they're leaders of industry. It's totally awesome. So the airlines are involved. They're not just like regular involved. They're putting their money where their mouth is. So unless you have a ton of money to give, which is great, then do it. If you don't, time, talent, treasure, right? Like, let's give your time. Let's give your talent. What is it that you have? I mean, you're a great strapping young pilot looking for a job. You can certainly volunteer at conventions, NGPA, Latin Pilots of America, PAPA, all of them need volunteers. And they are always, always, always on the look for people to help them out. And in our Spitfire world, that's one of the things that we pride ourselves in. We are like, we bring the party. B, we bring the community. C, we bring the people that are giving. And that's probably what we're bringing most, is the people that are giving. When RTAG, Rotor to Airline Group, they had their convention in Fort Worth, Texas. And there were 3,600 participants. We brought 350 people from Spitfire that are clients. We didn't pay them. We just put out the bat signal and said, hey, RTAG is happening. If you can come. And if you can volunteer, give your time. And so at RTAG, you got this red polo shirt, and that was your volunteer. Like the red polo shirts, you saw them everywhere. And they were overwhelmed. When I was talking to PJ and Joshua and everybody, like they were super thankful for all of the work that these people were doing. The volunteering community at RTAG is awesome. When we went to OBAP, our Spitfire team, our clients, there were so many of them, they ran out of work. The people at OBAP ran out of work for the volunteers to do because there were so many people just looking to give. And so let's talk about that for a second, okay? NGPA, Women in Aviation, OBAP, Latin Pilots Association, PAPA, all of them, they have great conventions and you should definitely go to them. And they are not just for Black people. They are not just for women. They are not just for Latinos. They are not just for gay people. They are for everybody. But the money that is raised from these conventions, the reason they have them is to raise money to help grow their community and empower the people in their community that are trying to get to where you are. And so all this money goes to scholarships, goes to growing their organization, outreach, all sorts of really cool stuff. So you do not have to be a woman to go to Women in Aviation. You don't have to be Black to go to OBAP. You don't have to be gay to go to NGPA. You can just be you. And if you're there to pour out into them, they are ready for that and they are excited for that and they want that. If you're going to go to a convention, I will tell you this. I would rather be at a convention in a t-shirt that says OBAP volunteer on it, and stand in front of the UPS booth and do a meet and greet than I would in a suit that costs $1,000. Because when I'm standing there and I'm doing my meet and greet and I'm being awesome, the one thing they keep seeing is the fact that my shirt says OBAP volunteer, and that I'm sacrificing my time to get out there and get moving and help. I've been stacking chairs for the past 6 hours, and I've got 20 minutes to score my job at UPS. And that is a compelling story. Well, why are you volunteering? Why are you volunteering? Are you volunteering because you think you're going to get a job? Or are you volunteering for a really compelling story? And your ass better be ready to tell a legit story about why you're volunteering. Because if you have a crap answer, like, that's it, man. You lost it. That's it. But if you go in there and you talk about the importance of that organization that you're supporting, if you talk about some interaction in your life that uplifts the people that that organization is also trying to uplift, if something that is personal and real and not that is worth more than any suit you could ever put on. So do that. Do it. I'm doing this episode. I'm telling you this stuff. I know hundreds of people, literally hundreds of people who have gotten the job at the airline that they have been dreaming about, like the one airline, their top number one airline. They got that job because they volunteered. And they didn't just like subtly volunteer, like they volunteered. Like all of it. The depth of the effort that you put forward will be paid back tenfold. It is absolutely the right thing to do. If you can focus on the humanity of somebody else, you're going to be a great person on a 4-day. You're going to be awesome in the cockpit. You're going to be somebody I want to talk to. I want to know. I want to spend time with. You already show me that you fit the culture of my airline. Why do you think that Delta is at NGPA? Why do you think that United is at OBAP? Why do you think American is at Women in Aviation? Why do you think that Southwest is at PAPA? Like, they are there because they want their pilot group to look like a representation of the society of the United States of America. And that is a diverse group of people. It is a big pot mixed up with really cool ideas and really, really strong leadership. And that is why they support. So I challenge you to get out there, reach beyond your horizon, find the opportunity to love and to pour out into the people that need it. Be intentional about it and don't hide it. Be like Jessica Ortega. Wear it on your sleeve. She wants more pilots to look like her and to be like her and to identify like her and to be so fun and so interesting. And she, like, that's it. That's what gets her up in the morning. Figure out what'll get you up in the morning. You'll grow lifelong friends. Man, I know I have. Gosh, I can't even tell you how many great friends that I have. I think of my buddy Titus Sanders, who I met at OBAP. This guy, like my baby's name's Titus. He was there trying to get a job for his dream airline. And he and I just like linked together. He was such a cool dude. And we still talk. And I know I'll talk to him for the rest of my life. And it's super fun. It's super fun. You'll impact so many people's lives. You'll help grow the goodness of our aviation culture. So stop complaining and start doing. Get out there, be a doer, be a volunteer, reach out, sign up for whatever convention you're going to sign up for, and then go volunteer and tell them that I told you to go do it. That's what I think. It's super important. Anyway, you guys are awesome. I hope you really take this to heart. I'll see you again. Have a great week, and we'll see you on the next episode, all right? Hey, before you jump out of here and go on to the next podcast, can I ask a big favor? Would you mind going over to your app that you're listening to this podcast on and give me a review? Give me a 5-star review if you love it. Give me a 1-star review if it totally sucks. Put a comment in there, something that is helpful. It helps me. It helps get the word out there. It helps people find the podcast, and that's super cool. If If you don't do that, maybe you could just share the podcast with a friend. Tell a buddy who's trying to figure it out, trying to sort out this pilot dream of theirs and get a little bit further. That is super awesome as well. Last, if you don't do either of those two things, how about this? Find a way today to make yourself 1% better. Do that thing that you've been putting off. Put your foot forward, make movement, get yourself going, get that inertia that you need to succeed in this industry. So that's your choice. Leave a review, tell a friend, or make yourself better. Either way, it's all a good choice. And I'm super stoked you're listening, and I will see you on the next episode. The statements made on this show are my own opinions and do not reflect, nor are they under any direction from my employer.